The latest on a shooting that killed one in Arlee yesterday. Where we stand on a possible government shutdown. And one man taken to a psychiatric hospital after police say he threatened the Capitol building.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on KAJ, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Fisher. The investigation continues into Wednesday's fatal shooting that left one man dead in Arlee. But we now know who the victim is, and the Lake County Sheriff tells us that they are investigating the shooting as a possible self-defense. MTN's Connor McCauley has the latest.
49-year-old Leonard L. Peak Jr. of Arlee was found dead when authorities arrived at a residence on Sanders Street in Arlee around 3:30 Wednesday afternoon. Sheriff Bell said Peak died as a result of a gunshot wound. While the shooter's identity has not been released, the relationship between the two men has been.
You know, they were neighbors from like a half a block away.
After law enforcement arrived on the scene, the shooter was taken into custody along with multiple witnesses.
There was 3 witnesses, but we only brought two witnesses and the shooter up to the office. The 4th witness, the 4th person there was there prior and had left before the shooting occurred.
The shooter was then released after questioning from the sheriff's office. Sheriff Bell tells us they are investigating the shooting as a possible self-defense.
We've since released, after the initial investigation was gone through and all the information was run through the county attorneys, we determined that the person wasn't a flight risk or wasn't a risk to the community, and it was looking at a possible self-defense, so that person was released.
Bell adds there is no threat to the community or neighborhood related to this incident. Connor McCauley, MTN News, Arlee.
And the victim was transported to the Montana State Crime Lab in Missoula for an autopsy, and there are no other details being released at this time. Moving on to weather, a wet day for most of northwestern Montana, making for some slick roadways, and that trend is set to continue. For more on what we can expect as we make it closer to the weekend, let's toss it over to Chief Meteorologist Arlee Shooting, who has a look at our first forecast. Aaron?
You know, Don, we picked up about 1/10 of an inch of rainfall today at the airport. Of course, in the higher terrain, we are talking snow, valleys, a rain-snow mix. Even pockets of freezing rain earlier today have given way to basically just valley rain. Now, we will start to see those snow levels dropping to valley floors here as we move into the overnight hours and we dip below that freezing mark. The big push of moisture, though, continues to drop further to the south and the east, so no big impacts expected for us in the northwest quarter of the state. Instead, some light to moderate snow accumulation expected here, particularly where you see these purple colors. Got a forecast update coming up.
All right, thanks, Aaron. The House took steps this evening to temporarily fund the government, but it's unclear if that same bill passed in the House will clear the Senate. Lawmakers are already teeing up the blame game for potential government shutdown that would begin on the 1-year anniversary of President Trump's inauguration. House Republicans won passage of a stopgap spending bill that would keep the government open through February 16th. It also includes a 6-year reauthorization of the Children's Health Insurance Program, or CHIP. The bill would be giving both parties more time to work through the differences they've been unable to resolve for months. White House officials say that the problem is bigger than any legislation. In the event of a shutdown, the Interior Department does plan to keep national parks and other lands accessible. Shuttered parks became a symbol of Washington dysfunction during the last shutdown. The Bullock administration has come out with its final estimate of how federal tax cuts will affect the state budget, and the negative impact is actually less than originally predicted. State Budget Director Dan Villa said Thursday that federal changes will cost the state budget about $20 million over the next 18 months. That's down from the $46 million estimate 3 weeks ago. He says the losses will be in state corporate income taxes because of a change that allows businesses to take higher deductions for expenses. Senate Majority Leader Fred Thomas of Stevensville says the law cuts federal income taxes $750 million for Montanans, and that money will go back into the economy, spurring growth. And Villa says if there is any loss, the state budget can absorb it, and the legislature won't have to meet in a special session to approve further budget cuts.
Coming out of the special session, the last thing Montanans wanted was another one. The last thing the administration wanted was another one. This really gives us an opportunity to head into next biennium having an honest conversation about how our economy comports with our revenue stream, and really looking at what those programs and priorities are moving forward.
And the legislature met in special session last November and approved more than $70 million in spending cuts because of a shortfall in tax revenue. There may be no crime more heinous than sex trafficking or any form of sexual abuse, but those who investigate these crimes say it's the recovery that can be even more difficult for victims. MTN's Jack Ginsburg spoke with one survivor who is turning her traumatic experiences into positive ones for others.
There were at least about 4 or 5 people that was assaulting me till the age of 19.
Grace Monchala was born and raised in southern India to a protective religious family. At the young age of 6, she began to be sexually assaulted multiple times by family and friends. Her parents had no idea, and she wouldn't tell them because in her culture it was abnormal to talk about sex.
From a 6-year-old mouth, it doesn't look, that is not natural, right? And there was a lot of shame and guilt, and because of the culture that I grew up in, we don't talk about things like that.
Later, Grace met a man who she said showed her compassion, love, and a way to leave her dark past behind. At least that's what she thought. He began trafficking girls and boys in their home, even right in front of her. But Monchala says she became numb to her surroundings until one day she knew she had to leave.
He was at a point of wanting me to sell my womb and my body, where he would come and ask me again and again. And at that time I knew, okay, it's not safe anymore with him.
She left broken, spiritually and mentally. Her parents sent her to a counselor where she says she found her identity again and began working to help others with similar struggles. In 2008, Monchala came to the United States with the same mission, to create a safer place for young girls and boys in the community and beyond. She says it is important to find these criminals and save these children, but it is also crucial to restore their faith in who they are as people.
So increasing the value of a person, bringing awareness to that person and showing them that what their identity is very important.
Monchala played a huge role in drafting legislative bills related to sex trafficking, ultimately raising Montana's grade for sexual trafficking prevention from a D to an A rating.
Monchala says there is still a lot of work to be done to fight for the abolition of human trafficking in Montana and around the world, but she is happy with the progress she has seen so far. Jack Ginsburg, MTN News, Kalispell.
And Monchala will hold a special training seminar at Flathead High School next Monday from 5 to 8:30 p.m. The Flathead County Sheriff's Office is crediting Two Bear Air Rescue as instrumental in quickly ending a manhunt for an armed suspect high on meth running around in a lakeside neighborhood on Monday evening. MTN's Nicole Miller has the details.
The dramatic capture of a burglary suspect caught on video earlier this week.
He was not well dressed, just had a t-shirt and jeans on, had lost his shoes.
Flathead County Sheriff Chuck Curry hoists the man to safety near Camas Creek.
It was pretty hypothermic.
And he was armed and considered to be dangerous, prompting an alert being sent out notifying nearby neighbors to lock their doors.
Push that out to people who were in the potential path or places he could actually get to.
The Two Bear Air helicopter was deployed, and Curry says that with thermal imaging technology, they quickly spotted him.
We were able to keep an eye on him until we could vector our responding SWAT officers into position, and were able to take him into custody without any incident.
30-year-old Kevin Ray Mitchell of Libby has since been booked in the Flathead County Detention Center on a burglary charge. And Sheriff Curry says it was Two Bear Air Rescue that played the most critical role in his capture.
It's great to have that resource here. Normally, you have to live in a major urban area to have those sort of resources, and we're very fortunate that this privately funded aircraft, with the technology it possesses, is available to us.
Nicole Miller, MTN News, Lakeside.
And Two Bear Air Rescue has been flying missions since the beginning of 2012, and Mitchell is due in court in early February. A Gallatin County man is in the state hospital at Warm Springs after allegedly making threats against Montana's state capitol building. Police aren't saying a lot right now, but we do know that this was a credible threat. Bozeman police notified the Helena Police Department about the threat just after noon on Tuesday. On Wednesday, police were able to confirm the identity of a man and that he had left Belgrade headed for Helena. Yesterday afternoon, the Montana Highway Patrol stopped his vehicle near Spokane Creek Road and Highway 12 East and took the 40-year-old man man into custody. Helena police say after working with the Lewis and Clark and Gallatin County's attorney's offices, a decision was made to turn the man over to the Montana State Hospital at Warm Springs. Police haven't said who the man is or whether he had any weapons when he was taken into custody. And while they have some idea about his motivations, they won't talk about that yet either. Up next, Aaron is back with an extended look at your forecast. And later, new information has been released from Riverside County, California, in the case of 13 children who were imprisoned, abused, and tortured by their parents.